Namaste. Welcome to Impact Anywhere. I hope everybody is doing well and enjoying this festive season. Today, we have a special guest. When we talk about this beautiful festive season, talking about how God and goddesses did their parts in bringing this festival here, especially we go on and look up to Goddess Durga, who is actually worshipped for last 9 days and include another 4 to 5 days. So total 15 days of celebration. Today we'll be talking about women. Women are not only someone that are contributing making the society, but also bringing happiness and good fortune and luck to your homes, to our societies and our countries. So, today we'll be talking about a very critical and important topics about women policies, and what Nepal and other different countries around the world have been doing to actually help women get their rights, bring their voice up, and make their life easier, build our homes and communities and world safer. So, please let me introduce you to our guest Aashiyana Adhikari, who is also a founder of Women's Policy Nepal. So, introducing her to the stage.
Hi,
Hello, Aashiyana. Welcome to Impact Anywhere.
thank you so much for having me here. I'm honored.
My pleasure. Absolutely. It's fantastic to have you here. So, how is the festive season going on for you?
It's quite a rush right now going from one place to another because last year I was not here, so I missed out on a lot, and I think it was COVID, so a lot of people were not getting together, and now as situation is getting a little better, so there's a lot of people coming in my house. I'm going out, so it's nice.
That's beautiful. So, how do you feel like being, a girl, and this how this festival is totally dedicated to goddess, which actually means that girls are treated, very good. They're given gifts, presents, and how do you feel about it?
So if we look at it that way, it is actually really a festival that would worship women. But if we look at it in a way that in our everyday lives, like what do you think? Do you think that there in festivals there are women that are working more? Even in holidays they are cooking more, they are cleaning, all the stuff that is added to them when there is festival. So I think yes, there is a culture in Nepal that in the say tihar or any kind of festival,
Hmm.
usually it's like women that are worshipped, but I
Hmm.
think there's an extra additional burden added to them when there is any kind of festival that comes in. So as for me, like because I'm working, I'm studying, so for me my house is really 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 liberal on these things, and I fortunately have to say that I don't have to do work just because I'm a woman. I would do a work because I want to. So there is a difference.
Okay, beautiful. So meaning in a sense that in our community or in our homes, so when these kind of festivals come, that means there's a lot of pressure, extra pressure actually to do all the household chores and look after the people around the house and also extended family and friends.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
of course. Like even
so
yeah.
so let's think of this in this way. What necessary changes would you have to make if you have to reframe this, the idea, like you say, like your family is liberal, or do you want to give up your own example and like which way, like how the things are, how the workloads are divided? What are your thoughts on that?
For this, I think because our society is inbuilt very patriarchal in
Mm-hmm.
firstly, so we need restructuring of the whole society. So that is something that me as an individual cannot do as of
Mm-hmm.
now. That's something
Mm-hmm.
that is just there. It has its roots, very strong roots. And if I had to give example of my house, I think it is because of the patriarch that are there in my house. If you would say, like the male members of my family, they
Mm-hmm.
are they never make us feel like we are any less of a person. And my I see my father helping my mom every single day, and my
Mm-hmm.
brother sees that my dad is helping my mom, so he
Mm-hmm.
does that as well. So I think it is something that we would change. What I mean, if I am a kid and I see only my mom working, then I think it would be inbuilt in my mind that when I grow up I have to work in the kitchen. But when I see my dad helping my mom, so I think that is
Mm-hmm.
something that I would expect my partner to be like as well in the near future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is like to start with. This is something that happens in home, and I'm glad that your family is leading you to see a better future and better outcome. So, what about talking about the whole government? What do you think Nepal government has been doing so far to introduce those changes, or have you seen, or have a looked at in that way?
Mhm. I am always saying that Nepal government, at least in the constitution, Nepal government has granted amazing rights to women. If you just look at it, Nepal government has always kept like women's rights in the upper hand, and they have tried to make policies for women. But
Mm-hmm,
sometimes what happens is that they forget that there is like a gender mainstreaming aspect that comes into place, and the fact that men making the policies would not solve women's needs. So I think that is something the
mm-hmm,
government of Nepal should really focus on, and on the table where they make the changes, where they make the policy, there should be women involved in it and incorporate within the
mm-hmm,
table talks and everything, so that they could change the policies, because a man would not necessarily know what women's needs are.
mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, so
like you mentioned, you think that the reason our government is not being that proactive in introducing the changes, maybe they might have made an excellent constitution and policies, but things
mhm,
are not, being put out. If you go and look out, 90% of the community would still be suffering from this. Like you said, all women's being, having a lot of stress when the festivals approach, while they are also meant to enjoy, equally and participate equally. So to bring that happiness, you want women to represent themselves and be out there in making policies, decisions. And I'm glad you are there already. Look at you.
I'm still
No,
not
I think
there,
you've
but
done a great job. So
mhm.
tell me about what you've been doing through Women Policy Nepal, and why did you establish this?
Okay. I think now that I've given so many interviews regarding this, that people, if anybody is listening to this who know me, they must be like, she's saying the same thing over and over again. But this is how
That's
it is.
fine.
So
That's where we start. We have to
yeah,
go out there, let our voice be heard, and give it
that is
out a
true.
thousand times. Much
So
needed.
this is why I actually started, because I wanted women's voice to be heard. And while while I was doing a research, and then there was this women politician who said that there are no votes for women, no women votes for us women. And even like one politician said something that was so crucial, that when we go out to vote for women,
Mm-hmm,
vote for like for to ask for votes, and she did not wear traditional sari. She was wearing like normal like suit, not like a sari or traditional wear, and she was criticized because she did not wear it. And she was telling me that it is difficult for me to run to different places wearing a sari, wearing this, because it's also a issue of mobility that women are
absolutely.
restricted to. Because men, they can walk anywhere, they can go any places wearing whatever they want to. And I think this is like lack of awareness and a systematic discrimination against women, that women should be this way. Even they are in a leadership position, they should be traditional, they should be cultural. That is how only women can be in certain position. And along with
Mm-hmm.
that, there were so many things that women politicians, women who were in power, were complaining about and telling me about. And I was like, even the people who are there are complaining. Look at us who are not even in that position. What about us? We don't even know about our basic rights. And I think there should be someone to start to let women know that this is your right, this is my right. If I am suffering from, for example, violence, I don't know that there are rights granted by constitution. I can go to the police and say that this is my right, I have the right to complain. So if
Absolutely.
I don't know about it, then how do I start bringing changes in my own life? So yeah, this is why I thought that I needed to advocate for women's right and the policies that are out there, and not also about that, but also the systematic discrimination that exists in Nepal against women, that's
Yeah.
there.
I think this is something that not only in Nepal, but even in like, Australian, politics that I've seen, like, women in politics have been criticized and objectified of, what dress they have been choosing to wear, and what sort of, aura they bring over there, like, because they are like, oh, this is the way you dress means you are, treated and seen in a different way. So you should be dressed in this way. So this is
Mhm.
something not only in Nepal, but I think across the globe, this is a very big issue. They're being objectified, which is why we need, people like you and many more to come out there and speak. And like you said, I've been saying that forever, but you still need to keep on saying that forever. And we want more people to be doing that. It's absolutely a big, big challenge for girls. So have you had an experience about yourself feeling that way, or like ever been said in that way, or people coming and saying you why are you doing this, or have any experiences of your own?
I think I have a lot because being a woman and born in a place like Nepal, I
Mm.
think not just me, almost I think 99% of us has faced have faced like discrimination along the way. For me, like there was one very significant thing that actually made an impact, that somebody me, I worked as a researcher for a long time, and one person did not wanted to give me a research project because of the way I looked, and
Wow.
because of the way that my maybe my profile picture was at that point. That person was like, how can a person be like
Mhm.
this and do serious work, like do research? And it
So
is
what
something
what
like,
exactly
it's
was in the poster at that time, that, or like your profile at that time, that he or she thought that this is not something that you are not capable of?
sorry, your voice just disconnected because my
Oh,
Siri
sorry.
was like, I did not hear you. So could
So
you repeat the question?
yeah, yeah, sure. So basically, what sort of like clothing or profile picture you had over there that they kind of judged you and like they thought you might
Yeah.
not be capable of taking that project?
No, it was not even any kind of. I usually in my profile pictures, it's always traditional. I don't know why. I just like it. But still, they were like, I don't know. Being a researcher, was it like I had to wear a specs? I should not
Mm-hmm.
present myself the way that I present myself, because there's this concept that researchers should be kind of a nerd, something around
Okay.
that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think like that was something that the person thought of, and I actually started wearing glasses after that because that impacted me a lot. Like
Wow.
glasses without power, so that I could look more serious to people and I can project my personality as more serious.
Yeah, I think this is a big, big, big issue. Like my own sister, one of my sisters, she was like, if I look chubbier and like a little bit fat, not being a fat in like a healthy fat is good. You have to
Mhm.
have a good BMI. But then she was like, if I look this certain way, then people would not like me. Like I wouldn't have friends. She's still in uni, and that's what she ended up like going on a heavy diet plan that she collapsed and she had to be admitted to hospital. So I think this is another issue, how people see like you need to look certain way to be somewhere, to have your friend, to be part of the community, like you said, to even have to have a research project that you want to do. Oh, like it's actually a very, very big issue. For me, like I would say I haven't personally faced that, but then I have been like criticized, like, oh, okay, why are you like someone who is more let's say a bit not what do you call, like, because body shaming is something that I've also really suffered, and people have been telling me a lot about. But now, like, I've made peace with it. But I think it is something that I think every girl goes through. If you are like a lean thin, they will be like, "Why are you too skinny?" If you're a little chubbier, then why are you too fat and overweight? And you need to look after yourself. You might not find anyone. These are things that we, I think, actually go in day to day, and not only that, leading up to professional. And I wonder, this must be something that women politicians might have been going out there in the government. Do you think those uh, like men in the politics would not, comment or say something about them? Definitely they would, because this is
Yeah.
something that we take from our house to society and now to workplace and the government, and then coming up to policy making, and then they wouldn't give us more place or to put our opinions and bring that into the table. So, Ashiana, can you tell me a little bit more about on what research is, or what projects have you been leading, and what sort of outcomes you have found so far?
Okay. So the recent one, which made me actually think about the power play that comes into even politics of Nepal was the representation of women in
Mhm,
parliament in Nepal. So basically, Nepal, I think it falls second in
mhm,
Asia itself in the representation of women parliamentarians. But the fact that it is all due to the quota system, and
mhm,
also the fact that women are there because they have to be there, they're obliged to be there because the Nepal government have to fulfill the quota that they have. And
mhm.
women being there, are they making any significant changes to other women or even to community?
Mm.
That is something that I
Oh,
had a
very.
very deep
Hmm.
long research on. That was like 6 7
Wow.
months of research. And it was shocking that a lot of women were even afraid, women politicians were even afraid to speak about things, because if they speak about things on record, they could
Hmm.
be discarded from the political parties.
Oh
And
my goodness.
women from political families also could not speak more clearly. Why? Because they come from political families and the reputation of their family would be in jeopardy, so
Oh
there were
God.
a
Yeah.
lot of things that are going on which are not good actually. So I was actually scared of the fact that we say that women should be there in the table, but even women who are there in the table are not working for women rights and women's issues.
So let's say like then now what the situation comes is their personal life is kind of in whole, like you said, personal image, identity, and a fear of rejection, because I think that's what I see for me personally. Like there were times, even there are times now where I can't go to, like, my, like, not my immediate family but my extended family and say things on, behalf, like, okay, women can do this and that. I can't clearly say that. And I think one of the very important factors is fear of rejection. And I think being a human being doesn't necessarily, mean where you are, but all human beings go through the same emotions. So I think those politicians that are out there, they also fear that sense of rejection, and that's why they're holding themselves back and not speaking. And also, I think what I also see is those people that are right in the forefront and that, that are not thinking about majority of women, and they're actually representing us out there in the government. I don't know. Do you think that they need to be there? Do you think that it is rightful for them to sit there and not talk about and speak about us and represent our problems? And just in case, just looking after themselves and they're, just in a fear and sitting there. What do you think? Do they deserve to be there?
Of course not. But then the fact that, do they deserve to not be heard? Do they deserve not to be given a chance even though they are there? Women who come from quota system are undermined even though they have the capacity to make changes. Why? Because they come from quota system. So that is something that is also a very crucial part. And women who are there, if they are given necessary training, if they are given necessary education, I think they can bring about changes. They are not even aware about what's happening. They
Hmm.
know that this is happening, but a lot of times what happens is, it is so much ingrained within us that we think that it is normal. It is
Yeah.
normal for us to be discriminated. It is normal for us to be undermined. So I think the fact that it is not normal, it is not at all normal. So
So then,
this is something, yeah.
mhm, if you had to, like, so you did your research and you found out these are the issues and these are the factors that have been holding them back, and that's why we are not progressing. Thanks to the quota system, at least we have females going there, even though
Mhm.
that's a forcefully, like,
Yeah.
built-in thing for them now. So
Mm.
what can be done so that these politicians, like you said, I think giving, educating and stuff. So what do you think that practically done can actually help these women to, speak up, or even like the people, or later on the females that are, planning to be in politics? What can they do so that they can speak and represent and bring out best policies for us?
I think the first thing that Nepal government should do should be the fact that they should remove the fact that not just women, like not just sisters, mothers, daughters, wife,
Mm-hmm.
widows of their own family should be
Mm-hmm.
there in politics. There should be people
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, and there should be
Absolutely.
people who are actually capable. It's like there are, like, if you
Mm-hmm.
just look at the streets in Nepal, there are women who are voicing their opinions, who are just out there, but they cannot enter into politics because of this crucial, it's like a uh, like old man's club kind of a thing where only
So
people who they know
so
can enter.
so like you said, does that also represent our own president?
Uh-huh. For her, I mean, when I have read a lot about her, and I think like few decades back, she was actually one of the crucial women who was in the forefront of leading changes in our country for women.
So do you think she was
And
capable, or do you think she was given because she belonged to like how you said, like being a widow or part of someone
yeah, 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 yeah.
family, or like that's why they are being
Mm-mm.
favored and they're kept in like higher positions.
Okay, for that point of time, I think that she actually did change things because there were very few women who were
Mhm.
in the forefront at that point of time.
Mhm.
But right now, I think it is the position that she has
Mhm.
that is not, she's not being able to justify the position, not position, but herself.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we have ceremonial president.
Mhm.
President does not have like that much power as much as maybe a prime minister would have. So we could
Mhm.
talk about the fact that when we put a woman into a leadership position like a prime minister rather than a president, then I think we can talk about bringing in changes. And because she is there as a president, I think she's just abiding by the rules of how she has to be just
So
to
you
stay
believe
there
that
in her
she
position.
has those so you believe that she has all the leadership qualities that actually a president or a prime minister should have, and you
I'm
think
not
that
saying
she
that.
okay, so you're just saying that like she needs to be given those rights so that she can act.
No, I'm just saying that at some point of time, she actually was very vocal about
Mhm.
women's right and
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
And right now, like looking at the trajectory that's been going on around,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, I do not find it correct to what
Mhm.
she was doing at certain point, like about our
Mhm.
all like president, prime minister, this is that was
Mhm.
happening. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it, it's all politics. And
Mhm.
politics, to remain in politics, it is
Mhm.
tough. And I think she is doing what she has to do, and she has to do to remain in politics, but not doing something that she should do.
Okay, so this is a very diplomatic answer. But then, what I would say is, like, for example, for yourself, like, if you look, okay, would you look after our president, later on? For example, if you think like I might also be in politics, and like,
Mm.
serve the country, or like many girls out there that have been thinking to, come in the front and be in politics. Do you think they necessarily need to look after our president and think like, okay, maybe I also can be someone like her and come in the politics and help serve the government? Do you think that is something you would do or recommend, or what would be the situation?
No, I think for young women who want to join the politics, I think they should just not try to replicate anybody that's out there. Because now I think, uh, just saying out there, that there are a lot of old people in our political seats and there are power. And it's not that in other states they are not, they are still like old experienced people out there, but at least they are educated and trained, and it's a lot of difference within that. So I would not say that you should look completely into what our president is doing and what her trajectory is. Maybe take like few tits and bits from her, maybe take few tits and bits from other people who have bought changes in their life. There was like, when I was looking into like women who brought about changes, I think she was like Yog Maya Nyopania or something. She actually abolished like sati pratha in 1920s or something, and that is something that's so brave. I think we should look into women who did that rather than women who are just there in position for the sake of being in position.
Yeah, that's actually very powerful. Like, learning and taking what is necessary from all different, powerful women's out there and how they're doing and actually growing. So, Ashina, have you ever thought like be somewhere in politics later on in future?
Not as of now, I don't think so. I would rather, I my interest lies more in policy making process. So I would rather be there, because at the end of the day, I think the actual change that can be done is if we change the policies for women, because they are there to ratify. Politicians are there to ratify the changes. Like just one, two, three, done. The bill is passed.
So, how
So
important is it, like for you yourself, being someone who is so, like a part of making policies and decisions? How important it is for a government to collaborate, or how important it is for you to collaborate with government to bring and introduce those changes.
So I think that is what I am heading towards, even with my organization, because I worked in a think tank. In think tank, what happens is we bring in a lot of stakeholders together, from government, from policymakers to grassroots people who actually tell them that this is a problem, and I think you should think about it, and that is how changes are being made. So for me, the first step that I really want to do is create a dialogue between people, create a dialogue between stakeholders so that they can know. Because sometimes what happen is, if I'm in a position, I might be sitting in a position, but I don't know what's happening at grassroots level. Unless and until you don't bring those all people together to have a conversation going on, you can't know what's going on. So that is something that I am really passionate about, along with all the advocacy I do about women. And yes, it is very important for government to talk to different stakeholders to know that what is happening, and to let us heard that these are the policy recommendation that we have for you, and please implement it so that life will be better for us all, not just for women.
Absolutely. And okay, so let's talk about, you introducing your, women policy in Nepal. Is there any impact that you actually wanted to introduce to the society? That one little thing that you would, if someone asks you, what is one impact that you wanna, you know, bring? What would be that impact that you wanna bring
i
to the table?
I think that would go beyond like the things that I'm talking, and it's like really small. I really want women to vote.
Oh
I
wow, that's
really want
so
women to
sweet
vote, because
and
and
very
like
strong and powerful.
yeah, because I don't want them to vote because their husband is telling them to vote for a certain person, or whom their like grandfather, their brother, their husband, like anybody. Because at the end of the day, sometimes it's like whoever your male member of the family, your patriarch of the family would recommend. Not just male members, actually, sometimes it's females are patriarch of a family as well,
Hmm.
matriarch, but they are considered as somebody that would impact your decision. So I want women to make their own decisions, to vote for people that would justify their needs and their interest.
Wow, that's very powerful. And what do you think, like a woman would have? How would women have a clarity on this is the right decision they have been taking?
The fact that they should be aware about it. And awareness is
And
something that is very important. Like I said, if you don't know about your rights, if you don't know who are there, what are the political leaders
hmm
doing in your area, what are their plans and policies, unless and until you don't know about it, unless and you don't read news, watch news, know what's going on around your country, you won't know about it. So for that, I think there should be more people advocating about and awareing people about this is what's going on, and do things that are right for you and that would benefit you.
I also have, people that actually share this, because they're like, lot of, these days it's like a lot of people talking about being feminist, and how women are suppressed and, all this patriarchy, blah, blah. But then there are concerns, like few male members, also for ourselves having brothers or father or uncle or grandparents, we also want to see that, those people are also heard in the same time, because there's a lot of blame game also going on in the other side, and how girls have been misusing their power since they have been given, power. What do you think about this? 'Cause that is something I think men or like coming teenagers that are going to be leading those young adults, I think they need to also understand, because in a way, like for example, one of my friends told me this while he's walking, like from home, let's say like after 5 or 6 when there's sunset or something, so he's kind of a little bit nervous if he walks around females, like for example, they're passing through the same road, so he would be like, I want to make sure that I have comfortable distance, that I don't make her comfortable, uncomfortable, and I'm also scared that she might just say something to me, and if I react or something, I need to be really aware of what I'm doing. If not, she might just go and report it to police, and then I might not have been doing anything to her, but she can just do anything to me. So now there's also a threat, that's been building up within these young teenagers or young adults. What do you think about those?
First of all, I just want to clarify the fact that feminism does not mean the rights just granted to women. it is about advocating for equality. And equality does not just mean for men and women, it means for all the genders out there. That would be LGBTIQ plus. So I think first of all, we even the young people need to know that it is not a negative connotation. But sometimes what happens is, even when we just talk about the Me Too movement that happened, that was so powerful. That was so powerful around the world. But there were instances where women used that woman to turn against the men that they did not like, or let's just take revenge out of something that happened with them. So I think for that, it's not just one gender. I think everybody should be mindful about how they are reacting. And still, I would still say that yes, there are men in threat as well. And it's not just women who are facing discrimination around the world. There was my friend, my own experience. He was actually very, once what happened that he was very sad about like what's happening around the world, and how men are treated differently now because of the conception that like men are this and men are that. Yes, not everybody is like that, but that does not mean that women who are claiming that men do it, because for women to come out and say something, it takes a lot of courage. Not everybody can do it. So I think there is again a hit and miss and a balance that we need to have out there, that we need to respect all the genders out there. And we just, being a woman, we should not be taking advantage of anything that we have over here. Because even in divorce cases, I have heard even from my own family members that there were cases where women just got married just to get the benefits out of the divorce, because a man does not have much right in Nepal, in our country. And I think in a lot of country, women have a lot of benefits over these things, and women are taking advantage of it, and I am aware of it. But having said
Absolutely.
that, I would still be like, women rights and women empowering women out there, and we all should be just mindful about our own behavior and actions.
So, do you not think like, this thing can be taught in school, like for example, high school or, secondary school, bringing up, girls and boys together and trying to, teach about, all this rights system? How would that impact, Because I think once you're 18 or something, like you start to vote, like you said, like, oh, this person can vote, but then you, like you said, if your father tells you or your mother tells you, whoever tells you, go and just vote them, those people. So do you think this kind of little education, this kind of, threat and violence even the boys are facing, all these, things that we described about, do you think that could be eradicated or, in certain percentage can be minimized if we kind of like, deliver this in our school system? What are your
Yes,
thoughts
of
on that?
course. Of course, of course. I really think that, I think school plays, along with family, change starts from family, school, the people that you are around with. And like I said, it bridges from the family, that what I see in my family I would implement in my life. Same goes with school, what I study in a very young age. Like I think I mentioned it earlier about in our textbook how it is so discriminatory that they would suggest that women should be at home and men should go to work. Is things like that should change. And I think I remember us studying about our rights and everything in social studies and everything, but the way that it is taught in our school is something that is like very theoretical. It's not something that we think that we have to like face it in our practical lives. So I think teachers should teach children in a holistic manner, and not just in a way that they would give you exams and I know this, right? Like what is democracy, what is this, like four pillars, blah 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 blah. I think that should not be done. And in school system that, and I think like voters, how many of us have like voter ID, that we are talking about like voting people? How many of us has registered out there? We are just out there vocaling and canceling people out there in Twitter, doing this and that but to bring about changes, at least you should vote. At least you should do one step from your
Yeah,
side.
absolutely. Absolutely. Such a incredible like topic, about voting and that impact that you want to, introduce. Also, Asiana, can you tell me like, in terms of how policies are made, with this, what are your future plans or projections or, projects that you are looking forward to bring that, changes and, I think educate and help people uplift their decision making skills? Are there anything that are upcoming?
Mm. So I'm actually in talks with a really young like women politician, because I really want to encourage young people, and like I might be a little biased on the fact that I really want women to be empowered. So there was this recently, if you know about it or not, it's been granted like a person can have a citizenship from a woman, like a mother. It is something that just got amended like few weeks back, I think. So I just want more people to know about it and just celebrate the little wins that we have. And that is something that I want to do. And I want to bring about more women to just talk about like what is going on in our country, what are wrong and what are not. And I'm actually in a
Hmm.
process. I actually did one regional seminar which I'm working on bringing out policy brief, because at the end of the day I think unless and until you don't write it up in paper, give it to somebody and bring about changes happen slowly in our country, that in the country that I live in Nepal, changes does not happen like this. It takes a while, and I think I'm patient enough now
And what do
to
you
bring
think
about the changes.
the cultural and the traditional barriers? What do you think about those, especially for you bringing up the policies and you want to implement, go out there, bring that change? What are the barriers that comes?
There are there, but I think my education would support it, because I studied gender and development studies. So it is something that in our even in the university level, we used to deal with a lot of culture and traditional barriers that comes across the world. Because, like I
Mm-hmm.
always say, what for me empowerment might be different for you, because you are
Yeah.
living in a different country for like years and I am living here. So for me and you, empowerment is different. For you and me, equality is different. A lot of concepts are different. And for women, it's never one size fit approach. Not just for women, for anybody, it's not one size fits approach at all. So I think that is something that I would really consider, being a gender student myself.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that one thing that I'm scared about is that when I go to ground level in like villages and areas like that, there would be a problem of I would I just don't want to be any another person that just comes in, give them education and just fly away, because that is helicoptering. It's called helicoptering, okay? In our development terms, it is called helicoptering, helicopter counselor, this and that. So I just don't want to be that person, because I'm not from like a very big organization or something, because I want small radical changes in women's life. And I'm scared about that, but I am up for the challenge. Let's see how that goes.
So meaning you want to go out there in those small rural like villages and start doing, bringing some projects that's going to be there for a while you introduce that shift of
Yeah,
like mind, shift of like that
yeah.
mindset, bringing that switch. And also um you know for anyone, for example, I like to take this example a lot. So when like a little kid tries learning how to brush, it's very tough for that little kid. It cries, it makes life very difficult for young parents. And but then for us, it's very easy. If you don't do it, you feel very difficult about it. So I think it's same for you. And you're kind of doing this to, the adults and those people that have been there for ages and ages, like
Mm-hmm.
50s, 60s, and trying to implement this. Now, I think there will be a lot of rejection that you'll have to go through. I think there's a lot of challenges that, none other professionals would go through as much as you are going, as this is something that you're connecting that society and that government. You're kind of that glue that's going to bring those two together. I think I would wish you all the best for that and what you're doing. I think not only me but all the girls back in home, and also all around the world. I think everybody is going to say thank you very much for what you're doing, Aashiyana. Really proud of you. Keep on doing, bringing that change, bringing those policies that are going to advocate not only for women, but also in the same time our brothers, our fathers, our grandfathers, our friends, making also safe environment for them. So I hope you'll do a lot great on that too. So we are pretty much reaching the end of the session. Is there anything that you really want to share to the wider community?
Um, I think I just want to share that us being women or us being young people, we should not be afraid to be vocal of our voices, be vocal of our needs around the world, and not just a Nepali being in Nepal, but being a Nepali all around the world. Everybody has 24 hours at the end of the day. So we can do as much as we can in the 24 hours that we have, and if we want to bring in changes, I think you should be the change first. So that is something that I really want people to think about and reflect upon even after this interview is over.
Amazing, amazing. I hope you all do this. Bring that change. Start with yourself. Start with your home, like how Ashiana has. Dad helping mom, brother helping out in the kitchen and doing everything, being the part of the family, enjoying this festive season. All of you out there, happy to say again. I think there are another 3 days that are left. Enjoy. And also, this is time not only for goddess that you go and out there and worship in the temples, but also the goddesses that are out there, your mother, your sister, your friend, your cousin. Go and respect them, love them, cherish them, because these girls out there, that's why your life is better. And also in the same time, we also want to thank all the male members as well. Because of you all, we also feel safer, we also feel sound and happier. So together we make this world a better place, we make Nepal a better place. Similarly, thank you, Ashiana. I'm so grateful to have you here in our show, and we'll again get in touch next time in our show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for watching us. We'll see you on next episode of Impact on You with our another special guest with another beautiful topic. Till then, please do go out there, look after yourself, stay safe, get vaccinated, have your COVID vaccine so that we can make this world a better place, safer place. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.